Hello, dear audience. We're so happy to see you again in today's new episode. Can old wounds truly be healed by love? And can a simple meal be enough to keep them together forever? If this story touches your heart, please hit the subscribe and like button to support the channel. Kwang and Linda sat under the porch, the morning sunlight slanting through the leaves, casting a warm, golden glow over their faces. Linda tilted her head slightly toward him, her eyes filled with countless questions she had never dared to speak. Finally, she whispered softly, "During the days you were gone, what really happened?" Kwang remained silent for a long while. His hand tightened around hers, as if searching for courage. His voice grew low, carrying a pain that had never faded. "That day, I was ambushed. A group of strangers blocked my way. They beat me until I lost consciousness. I thought I would never come back again." Linda's eyes widened in shock, tears welling. Kwang looked at her, his gaze softening as if to reassure her. "But by some miracle, a girl named Huong found me, brought me into her home. Without her, I might not be sitting here with you today." Linda's body trembled. Fear surged inside her, yet instead of jealousy or reproach, she only gripped his hand tighter, whispering, "All this time, I was so afraid you would never come back to me." Kwang looked deeply into her eyes, his voice breaking. "I'm sorry, Linda. Through those months, I thought only of you and Mother. The image of you both gave me strength to rise, to survive. I promise, from now on, I'll never let you suffer another day like that again." Linda leaned her head against his shoulder, hot tears rolling down her cheeks. But this time, they were tears of relief. They sat in silence, with only the sound of leaves rustling in the wind as witness to the vow just spoken. Inside the small hut, Kwang held Linda's hand tightly, his eyes heavy with sorrow. His voice trembled as he asked, "Linda, that day, why did you end up in the hospital? Is there something you've been hiding from me?" Linda lowered her head, her lashes quivering, her voice breaking. "I didn't want to worry you anymore, but the truth is, the baby inside me, we couldn't keep it." Tears streamed down her face as she choked out, "I'm sorry, I couldn't protect our child." The words pierced Kwang's heart like a blade. In that moment, his world collapsed. His chest ached unbearably, his mind went blank, and everything spun around him. He felt powerless, unable to protect the woman he loved, unable to save his own child. Regret tore at his soul. Tears streamed down the face of the man who had always seemed strong, now broken like a lost child. In Linda's arms, he was overwhelmed with grief and love, silently vowing he would never let her bear such pain alone again. His body trembled, his hands clutching Linda's shoulders, his reddened eyes unable to hold back any longer. He cried out, "No, my God, our child, our baby." Linda sobbed uncontrollably in his arms. Kwang held her tight, shaking as if he could shoulder all the pain for her. Their cries blended into one, echoing in the silence around them. The wind blew through the porch, rustling the dry leaves like a witness to their immense loss. In that moment, they had only each other to lean on, to soothe wounds too heavy to bear alone. Kwang buried his face into Linda's shoulder, his breath ragged, his eyes wet with unfallen tears. His heart ached with loss, with the helplessness of failing to protect their child. Linda's arms tightened around him, her hand gently stroking his hair as if to ease all his pain. Her voice trembled, yet carried strength. "My love, don't blame yourself anymore. Our baby has become a little angel, watching over you from afar. I believe our child will always be proud of such a loving, strong father. She raised her gaze, locking eyes with him, her look filled with love and trust. One day we will have more little angels. I want to stay by your side, to rebuild our home together, so we'll never face such loss again. Kwang could only hold her tighter, his lips quivering with words unspoken. In her embrace within the humble kitchen, a faint light of hope flickered, enough to make them believe tomorrow could still begin anew. Linda squeezed his hand gently, smiled, then led him outside to the garden. The path seemed to open into another world, airy, fresh, and peaceful. Flowers bloomed brightly, birds chirped somewhere above, and the breeze sang softly through the trees. Kwang breathed deeply, his shoulders lightening after days burdened with sorrow. He glanced at Linda, her face glowing beneath the tender sunlight. Somehow this peace was enough to heal the wounds in his heart. She bent down, cradled a small flower, and handed it to him. See, life still holds so much beauty. We're going to be all right. Kwang nodded gently, a new glimmer of faith shining in his eyes. He clasped her hand tightly, knowing deep down nothing could break him again, as long as Linda and this quiet home. Thank you for staying, for waiting for me. Linda paused, her eyes sparkling with tears. She held his hand and smiled tenderly. As long as we have each other, it's enough. From now on, we'll build our life day by day, starting with simple things like this. On the narrow path leading to the sweet potato field, Linda walked ahead, her conical hat casting a gentle shade from the sun. Kwang followed behind, holding a hoe in his hand, the weight of it strangely unfamiliar. It had been so long since he had shared these simple days of labor with her. The rustle of leaves beneath their feet, the distant songs of birds, everything evoked the peace they had long yearned for. When they reached the thick green rows, Linda bent down, her practiced hands swiftly parting the leaves before striking the soil with the hoe. Kwang knelt beside her, watching her small yet resilient figure, and his heart swelled with both tenderness and pride. He tried to handle the hoe himself, clumsy at first, making Linda let out a soft laugh. "Let me do it. You're not used to this yet." Kwang smiled, wiping the sweat from his forehead, but he remained determined. The earth gave way, and the first sweet potatoes began to appear beneath the brown soil. Linda gently picked them up, brushed the dirt away, and placed them into the basket. Kwang looked at those humble potatoes and felt his heart sink. He remembered the days he had been missing, the time when Linda bore everything alone. Now, just digging out a potato at her side made him feel warm and deeply grateful. Together, they worked again, the sound of hoe striking earth mingling with soft laughter, echoing under the clear blue mountain sky. In that moment, it felt as though every storm had passed, leaving only the two of them, together, among rows of sweet potatoes brimming with life. After bringing the sweet potatoes home from the field, Linda and Kwang sat together on the porch, beside the basins of clear water. Linda bent down to wash each dirt-covered potato, while Kwang sat next to her, clumsily lending a hand. They both laughed as the water splashed around, washing away a part of the heavy sorrow they had carried. Soon, the pot of sweet potatoes began to steam, filling the small kitchen with a warm, sweet aroma. Linda lifted the lid, the heat rising gently as Kwang stood by her side, his eyes shining with quiet joy. They sat down at the bamboo table, breaking the soft, tender pieces of potato, sharing bites and smiles. In that moment, no grand promises were needed, no lavish feast required, just a plate of boiled sweet potatoes, a held hand, and their quiet laughter. That simple moment erased the weight of past losses, leaving behind only the belief that as long as they had each other, they could endure anything. On the porch, Kwang and Linda quietly gazed at the fading embers in the fire. That simple moment closed a long day, yet opened a new hope for both of them. After all the storms, they realized that as long as they could sit side by side, happiness would always remain. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us in the next episodes.
Chúng ta vừa cùng nhau đi qua một hành trình nhỏ nhưng lại chất chứa thật nhiều cảm xúc, từ những nỗi buồn, những giọt nước mắt, cho đến cả những khoảnh khắc bình yên, giản dị vô cùng quý giá. Cảm ơn bạn đã đồng hành và lắng nghe đến tận những giây phút cuối cùng. Mỗi một lượt xem, mỗi một ánh mắt dừng lại, mỗi một trái tim cùng đồng cảm đều là nguồn động lực để cho những câu chuyện như thế này được tiếp tục viết nên. Nếu cuộc sống còn bộn bề, đôi khi chỉ cần những giây phút lắng lại, ta sẽ nhận ra rằng niềm tin, lòng nhân ái và sự sẻ chia luôn có sức mạnh chữa lành kỳ diệu. Và cũng chính nhờ có bạn, người không ngại dành thời gian quý giá để đồng hành, mà hành trình của nhân vật trong câu chuyện này trở nên trọn vẹn hơn, ấm áp hơn. Dù phía trước vẫn còn nhiều chông gai, nhưng chỉ cần trái tim con người biết hướng về nhau thì bóng tối nào cũng sẽ được soi sáng bởi một tia hy vọng. Xin gửi đến bạn lời cảm ơn chân thành nhất. Hẹn gặp lại các bạn trong các tập tiếp theo, nơi câu chuyện còn tiếp tục mở ra và những bước chân kiên cường, một mơ ước lặng lẽ và niềm tin chưa bao giờ tắt. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Chúc các bạn luôn bình an.